Hi, good morning. So my name is Michael Foley. This is my individual SWOT analysis. Um, and so just the first slide is just going to go over who I am and a little about me. So I've been married for almost 4 years. My beautiful wife, we have 2 dogs, and we are expecting our first child in April. So I'm trying to make sure I get everything done before then so that I'm just ready to go with the baby. I love sports. I grew up playing baseball since I was 4 or 5. 3-time all-district high school baseball player in Houston, and I was a 4-year letterman in baseball. I went to Westside High School, so it was kind of new, but either way, I was a 4-year letterman in baseball, which is pretty cool to do. I have 7 tattoos, and what I would like to do is eventually have a sleeve tattoo for my right arm. Just go from the shoulder all the way down until my wrist. Okay, so some of my strengths that I have is the first one is honesty, and it has gotten me in trouble at times as well. But if somebody asks me a question, I'm going to tell them what I think the answer is. If it's my opinion or if it's something that I have facts on, I'm going to tell them what it is, whether they want to hear that or not. It may not be the answer they were looking for, but I'm going to tell them how I feel about the situation. If I don't feel right about it or anything like that. Strong service skills. So I've been in banking for over 10 years now. I started out with Wachovia, which was primarily aimed to customers through service. We didn't push sales, and then Wells Fargo bought over Wachovia, and it went to a sales-driven culture, which was a big shock since I had never been in that type of culture before, but I adapted to it. But service is definitely where I feel that I bring the most to the table for the branch. Experience, like I said, 10 years working for the bank. So I've worked everything at the branch level besides a store manager. So I've been a teller, I've been a lead teller, which is a step above that, but you have more responsibility. I've been the service manager or the lead teller or the teller manager. So overall the tellers, I've been a banker. So I've been on that side of the sales side as well. The teller side, we have sales goals as well, or we did have sales goals as well before. So I've been on both sides, and then I've also worked in the back office. I worked a little bit in the mortgage department for a little over a year. So I have a little bit of that experience on my side as well. So I feel like I'm pretty rounded in the retail banking. Some of my weaknesses. So I'm an introvert by nature. I like to be at home with my wife. I like to be at home with my dogs. I like to be at home watching TV. Watching sports, doesn't really matter. I like to be at home. I don't drink, so I never was very social in that regards, especially after high school and early 20s, things like that. So I've kind of been a homebody most of my life. I can be too lenient at times, especially when I was a service manager. I really only had one big no or pet peeve, and that was tardiness. So I'm willing to let a lot of things go as long as it's not affecting our service levels or anything like that. Like I said earlier, speak my mind. So I've gotten into some trouble with that. If it was something that I didn't agree with, or I felt like I was being walked over or lied to or something like that, then I have made that known, I guess to the detriment of my career at one point. But I'm trying to move back up right now, so we'll see how that goes. Some of the opportunities. So since Wells has moved to service levels as a score for branches versus just sales, Wells has actually gotten rid of all of the sales goals at the branch level. So everything that we do is based off of our service now. I feel like that's something that really helps me because that's something that I've hung my hat on for the last 10 years. So I feel like that's a big opportunity for me, and it's somewhere where I can really shine and get myself back to the position that I was before, and hopefully continue to move up. And I just have to be ready to pounce on any opportunity. There's not a whole lot of openings for service managers or store managers or things like that. And some of them that are openings are not close to where I live. And especially having a new baby coming into the picture makes that a little difficult. I don't want to get too far away because we're obviously going to have daycare or something like that. And so that's going to have to factor into my routes and how far I can go. But I have to be ready to pounce when they're there, especially if it's a branch that is that's close to where I live. So some of the threats for that. So family will come first. Family's going to come before my job. If my child or my wife needs something, then I'm going to have to be there for them. A lot of companies, I think, understand that, but it still can be an issue at times. Try not to make it one, but it can be. This is one, diversity can work against me at times. Being a Caucasian male, especially, I don't know how a lot of other companies work, but with Wells in particular, there's a big push for diversity. So women and minorities are being pushed for management positions. So it makes it a little difficult. For me, I feel like sometimes I'm overlooked because of that fact. So I just have to try to stand out more than everyone else. The last one is retail banking is changing. I know, I'm not sure how long we're still going to have retail branches in the sense that we have them now. We've had a couple of branches in Houston that have a couple of automated tellers now. So it's kind of like an ATM on the inside. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect, retail banking going forward, but it's something that could definitely change things. But I have to be able to adapt with those changes going forward. So some of the goals that I have, so I was a service manager for 2 years before I decided to go back to school. And now that I'm in my last class to get my degree in business management, I'd like to get back to being a service manager and using that as a stepping stone to become a store manager and then eventually a district manager. I'd like to stay at Wells if I can because the benefits are pretty good. The hours are not that bad. The weekends can be rough at times, but I'm going to have a baby coming the way. So having those benefits and the vacation time that I've amassed through 10 years is something that, I'll get to spend more time with my family with, hopefully. And obviously all of these things are things that I want to do for my family and for my son that's coming into the world. I want to be able to provide more for him and make sure that he lives a comfortable life, and make sure my wife is happy wife, happy life. The biggest way that I can achieve these things is just through hard work, determination, and, making sure that I stand out. Our branch right now is doing phenomenal in our service levels. So if we continue to that, then I feel like I'll definitely have a chance to start moving up again. But that's going to be hindered a little bit because I'm about to go on paternity leave in April. So that's going to move me back a little bit. But, when I come back, I just have to come back strong and determined and really push for it there. So that's all that I have today. So thank you.